Okay, so this is my project Mental Note. This is the Star Wars Force Trainer. I'm going to show you sort of an overview of how this all works, and then I'll give you a demo. So this is modified from when you buy it in the store. We added two switches on the outside here. This toggle switch turns on some orange LEDs I put underneath the fan here. And this switch turns the sound on and off because here I'll turn it on. There's normally this lightsaber drone sound that it plays, and sometimes Yoda talks, and when you're trying to make music with it, that gets kind of annoying. So we've got 4 wires coming out. These 2 are for the battery that power the LEDs, which will eventually be inside the case, and these 2 are the serial lines. It's an one of them's the transmit from the circuit board inside of here, and the other one is the ground. So inside of here, the way this whole thing works is whenever they were making this, I guess they left these pins in for debugging or testing or something in production, but if you look farther down on my website, you'll see some pictures of the circuit board in here, and if you take it apart and you want to make this yourself, it's right about in here. There's 2 screws on each side, and this thing just pops apart in 2 halves. And there are 4 or 5 header pins in there or something. And you can also see pictures of those on the site. And they've got a serial out on them, and it'll output the data that it's collecting from this, which is the thing you wear in your head. It's got 3 pads that make contact with your skin, and some people have taken this apart and discovered that it does indeed use brainwaves, and it's not just randomly making the ball go up and down. The only bad thing is this has only got 3 pads, and if you were to do this for a medical study or something and you're going to use a real EEG, it would have way more than 3 contact points. So sometimes this can be tricked by small muscle movements, because when your muscles move, a small electric field is created, and that can throw this off a little bit. But once you get some practice with it, you find that you really do control it. You can actually get pretty good at it. So for the software side, I'm running these serial lines through an FTDI cable, which basically turns it from serial into USB. And I'm doing stuff to it with this processing sketch I wrote, which won't focus, but oh well. You can download the code from my site. In a second here, when I do the demo, I'll show you the output that we get from the Force Trainer. So let me show you that now. So you should start hearing music here. What's happening is the Force Trainer is sending over a little packet of 3 numbers at a time over the FTDI cable. Processing is looking at those 3 numbers. It ignores the 3rd one because that's the connection quality between this and the wireless headset, which I'm wearing. And it looks at the first 2, which is the brainwave strength. So the first one is the alpha brainwaves, and the second one is the beta brainwaves, I think. So it does something very simple. It just takes the numerical average of that. It waits for a bunch of numbers to come across and then takes the average. And then based on the average, it plays a sound clip from this library. So the algorithm is really simple at this point. It's just directly related to brainwave strength. So you could make this a lot more interesting, I think. And I'd like to experiment more with it by doing things like making the algorithm dependent on past sounds played to maybe make it a little more musically interesting. You could also use more samples, more music samples that is. Maybe just try MIDI, because at the moment the music you create isn't terribly original, because obviously it's based on pre-composed samples. However, you could make it more original by trying MIDI. The only thing with that is, because some of these samples get played over top of each other at the same time, and I think it sounds more interesting playing things over top of each other than just playing, you know, a string of notes like you were picking out on the piano or something. The problem with that is sometimes the notes played over top of each other don't sound very good. And I've actually had people who didn't quite understand how this works, and they think that maybe the music you can think of in your head is what you hear, which of course is not what happens at all. So there's a lot of room for interesting modifications to this, which I'd like to experiment with, and I hope some other people will too. So you can download the code for this, and you can download all the sound libraries and everything you need to run it on my website. You can also listen to some sound samples that I collected while just wearing this thing, so you can sort of get an idea of what they all sound like. And you can also see pictures of the inside of this, how to take it apart, and everything else you need to build your own. So thanks for watching, and give it a try.